Yeah, so just to start, my name's Nick. I work for Anjunabeats, helping manage this album with everybody. We've got Marcus and Thomas from Aname and Bien here with us. And I will let you guys kind of take it away to start talking a little bit about the project and this song. And we'll talk a little bit about Must Be Dreaming that came out today, as well as the overall project, working together, and also talk a little bit about last year or 2 years ago's big hit, The Best Part. So I will let you guys take the reins from here.
I mean, it kind of all started with me sitting in front of my TV in my box shorts, watching a favorite series called Working Moms. And there was a song playing in the background. I was like, up. What's that? What's that? That sounds different. What's that? And it turns out it was some band called Bien. Yeah. All right. Okay. Who is Bien? I had no idea. I contacted them if they were up for me. Yeah. If they were up for me reworking The Best Part. And we made it, and we realized, well, our sounds, or the way they write and the way we produce music really works in some kind of weird way, but it really works. And then we released The Best Part, and then about 9 months later, someone from the anjunabeats office is like, hey, your song is going viral. What do you mean? Yeah, it's going viral. What does viral mean? No, there's like 100,000 reels going on. Okay, that's crazy. And now The Best Part reels is up to like 1.1 million or some crazy thing like that. But I think the most important thing here is that, we wanted to continue to work with Bien, and the reason is because it's some of the best songwriting and vocal work we have ever heard. So.
Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. We loved it. There's something like so fun about like the way that we write and the way that you guys produce and make it sound. Like Angela and I have written pretty much all of our stuff, and we do a lot of like tiny, and Tim, like we do a lot of tiny Casio keyboards or iPad vocals, like a lot of kind of like lo-fi, small DIY stuff. And the way that you guys kind of take it and make it hi-fi, and I don't know, just the way that it works is just really fun.
It transcends. It just takes you to another level.
It's been really, that song was just like one example. So it was so fun to have you guys do this one too.
We were like going through all of your songs and like, okay, what works as like the follow-up? And when we heard this song, I was like, oh, it has the same vibe, like same happiness, same it just feels like a true song. Mm-hmm. And the first time we played it out live, it was that feeling that, oh, this song is so honest and it's so like pure. Mm. And that was the same feeling for The Best Part, that it's all about the goodness.
I think also, I just want to add to that, it was somewhat easier this time because I remember when we were working on The Best Part, because it was different from what like we've been doing before. It was slower, it was very indie-esque, because we love the sort of original sort of vibe of the song, like the feeling you get when you hear it and the meaning behind the words, and we just want to play off that. So we didn't want to overdo it like we maybe sometimes do in some of these sort of bigger records we do. So we wanted to keep it that honesty. And once we saw like people, our fans and anjunabeats crowd and globally as well, really connected with that sort of stripped down version of what we call maybe club music, it was a little bit easier for us to sort of, well, we proof of concept, this kind of like weird idea we have in our head, to strip this down to the bare minimum, what it needs to be. It was easier for us to go back now with this idea and sort of enhance that and try to supersize it a little bit.
Exactly. And also, you know, we still feel sometimes scared of playing the original mix of Best Part because it's so soft. And then when we play it and we see all the people singing to it, we're like, maybe we can play this as well. And yes, we can.
It's interesting to me. I think our version of Best Part was like 117. You guys took it to like 123 or something. And They Must Be Dreaming, ours is 130, and you slowed it down. So I'm curious how much time you spend on finding the tempo.
I mean, we kind of usually feel at home between 120 to 125, and we don't really go above that because we just feel that in dance music you kind of need some space in between the kick and the bass. And around that area, it just sounds the best. And at the same time, we're not 17 anymore, so
what are you talking about?
Dance for like 2 hours, gotta be in our pace. So,
no, but it has something also to do with the swing of things and the groove of the vocals. We can dance forever, Marcus. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, right.
But it's
for yourself, man.
On a geeky technical level, the vocal sounds good, and sometimes if you go down eight beats per minute, it can start to have weird artifacts. So I don't know what you used.
We use Melodyne, and Melodyne is kind of the best software to like slow or speed things up without ruin it. And there is a fine space too, where after 10 BPM plus or minus, it doesn't really sound great anymore. With your stems coming our way, our goal is always to try to preserve it as clean as we can and try to keep as much as the original song in it, while also try to rewriting some of it.
We always say that, like, every time we all these songs, we have stems for a lot of songs and ideas that we're still working on, that will come eventually. But all of them, we always say, like, we don't have to do anything it's just perfect. It sounds so good. Like, every time, all the stems, everything sounds always so good. So it's just such a pleasure to work with. And we work with a lot of different, so it's a big sort of, thank you, and how do you do it to you guys.
Well, it's interesting because I listened to your whole record, and you have some. I forget which song is the acoustic guitar. There's some organic elements that I really like, and even somehow the synthy stuff still has a real sort of humanity, like some of the filtering stuff. I don't know. It's less of the sheen or something. I don't know. I mean, I think you know what I'm saying. That there's.
What we try to do is to make every synth sound like something that was played live.
Yeah.
Love that.
And for us, the small accents that we do with the filtering and so forth, it's all about those details. Nothing in this song is the same twice, ever.
Yes.
We always play with like different moments, have different filtering and so forth. You will never ever hear something repeated twice in our songs. And I think that goes a long way.
Playing a piano or playing guitar live, it's never going to be complete. There's always like these small, like Mark said, like accents and velocities changes, and there's a little bit of all that, and that's what makes it human. And a synth is like a computer, so try to, I guess, humanize a computer somehow and make that so unique. And that's what we try to, and I think that maybe that's one of the reasons why kind of our sounds go so well together, because it's that you guys got that gritty sort of indie sound, which is very sort of human. And once we bring that, our little synthesizer into it, that also brings a little bit of a digital human into it as well.
I like, like there's that like low Meltron guitar, or part we sent, and I like the track. It's flammy, like you didn't. There's still, it's nice that there's a little bit of timing difference, just like a band would do.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the things that we try to like not be so touchy about on this album, is all of these exact timings, because in the end, nothing is never exact played live, and yet when you hear a band live, it feels like, oh, it sounds better than the CD. And I think we try to keep that way in many songs on the album. Some sounds on the album is there because they sound off. Yeah. And that's a quite weird way of choosing sounds. Like, hey, this pad here is a bit off key. It's not perfectly tuned, but it gives it that kind of soul. Yeah. And I think like working with live instruments and so forth, I think for too long the dance music has tried to like tame it. Mm-hmm. And I rather want to set it free.
I love that. That's so good. Yeah.
Both of these songs, both Must Be Dreaming and The Best Part, you guys wrote a few years ago and put out a few years ago, and then as they said, there's like demos, original stuff in the works as well that's made specifically with aname. But for you three, what's kind of the process, or what was the process when you were making these earlier tunes, and how it comes about from your end before Marcus and Thomas get it?
Take it, Ange.
Take it,
Angela is the chief process officer.
Now, Jesse and I usually get together, and that process is the first probably hour is just chatting, sharing music that have inspired us, talk about life, and sometimes one of us has an idea, or I'll toss out a hook, and then we might reference some music that is that is just we're totally jamming into, and then we'll start. Sometimes it's a melody, sometimes it's lines, sometimes it's pulling up a loop on the iPad. We did switch over to Logic for a while. It slowed us down. It did. The rabbit hole of, oh my gosh, listen to this sound, and then this sound.
Back to GarageBand.
She plays keyboards and guitar. I play guitar, and so we can sit and write with real instruments. But sometimes the iPad is inspiring. I get very inspired by sound. Yeah. And so we usually go from there, and we try to draw from life. Our ideas come from that. And I think both of us, it's really important that I think we want people to feel good listening to music, and to be inspired and to be lifted up. And so, that's an important thing for us.
Yeah. I think that both of those songs kind of came out of us wanting to write something that, just wanted to make people feel good. We're very like, when we write a lot, I don't know, with like emotion in mind, so we really, I think both of those songs, we just really wanted to capture that emotion. Must Be Dreaming in particular was one of those things where it's like, whether it's like your partner or your kids or whatever, we wanted to capture that emotion of like what it feels like in those moments that it feels too good to be true, to be together. Like those moments that really feel so incredible. And even just for me, like we wrote that song before I had kids, and now I can sing that like with my kids. Like, you know, it's just incredible. Like before I could sing that to my husband, and now I could sing that to my kids. And I think it's that feeling of being together, and that's, I think, what we really try to focus on is the emotion of the song.
I just wanted to ask you something, and it's not really a question either. It's more like a thought I have, because every time I listen to your songs, there's two things. It's obviously always quite positive, and you're trying to bring something like a good force. Like that's how I feel about it. Which is again, both of these songs are exactly right. But what's also quite interesting, and you kind of said it right now, it's like, before I could sing it about this thing, now I can sing it about the kids. So it's sort of, it transcends to so many different types of people. And I think that's what's the big hooky thing that made people, or best part, call it viral, is because it fits their exact emotion at that point. It describes that, the best part. And that could be the kids, that could be travel, that could be, you know, your husband, your wife, whatever. Like, there's so many things where that lyric sort of encapsulates so many big feelings. And I think that's such a rare gift to have as a songwriter, to be able to write something that can go in so many different sort of directions and describe so many people.
And I think, I mean, I'm a songwriter, but I don't really write in the band stuff. I've written a lot of songs, but they kind of do the writing for this band. And, you know, it's almost like both Must Be Dream and Best Part, it's almost like a mantra, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The chorus is like this phrase, and I think it's like, you could almost use it as like a gratitude mantra or a mindfulness mantra, and you could almost use it if you weren't quite feeling it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, sure.
You know, like if you just think like, oh, here we are, and we're just doing live. But then if you said, what if you said to yourself over and over, must be dreaming, too good to be true, must be dreaming, what is it? All I need. I haven't heard it in a million times. All I see is right, and then you could just go, what if I just let that be true, and all of a sudden it's changed your perspective. So I heard the song so many times, but I heard Must Be Dream, the second verse, which I couldn't quote to you, but I heard the lyrics. I heard the lyrics in a different way on their version.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, it's interesting when it's almost like if somebody's talking and then they slow everything down.
So cool.
It's like
so cool.
Having the same words that I've heard while I'm over here working for hours, hear it, and maybe the chord's a little different, so it's like the person had a different look on their face, or a different outfit, a different time of day. They delivered it in a different tone. It's the same content.
Yeah.
And that was, as a listener, that was sort of my experience, was going, man, that's a really good verse.
There's a part of the Must Be Dreaming in our version where we kind of fade the vocal out into reverb, and then it comes back into the drop again.
Yeah.
And that part was meant to be that, well, someone is dreaming lightly, the light is sleeping, you hear all the sounds, and then you wake up and it's boom. And that was really like, it felt good to capture that vibe, because usually you don't get lyrics that you can physically model in your production after what the story is. And this time was one of the first time was hold on, we could actually do it this way.
Yeah, and it's perfect for us when we play live, because we play a lot about like ups and downs and energies and stuff like that. We wanted people to like be in touch with what we're doing, instead of just like having a very sort of static build up. We go very up and then we go down a little bit, go harder, then softer. And here it was like perfect in this song because then we can get everybody like, because you can see them when it's sort of phasing out. We saw it in a gorge, and people just kind of closed their eyes and they kind of like went with it, and then like, you know, you get these melodies going, and then it just goes back in, and people are like, yes, that's exactly what it was. And it was so literal, and that's what's really cool about it.
We do a lot of music, all three of us together and individually, that goes with picture, that goes with screen, the TV and film stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, and I think this is why it's worked so well for the reels, is because it's saying something, but it is very it is very universal, and it's also emotional, and somehow it you can plug your own, like, what the best part, it's like you can plug that into getting a new puppy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or opening up your new cookware for UPS for the web. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
How do you feel about 1.1 million people choosing your song for their best part?
Oh my gosh, it's so exciting to me because that just means that they're experiencing joy. Hopefully, you know, something they're celebrating, and you know, whatever that moment is, you know, in life, if people can celebrate it, that's great. So, and I feel honored that, you know, our song gets to be the one that supports it.
I mean, you
Yeah,
could
but the
argue,
little soundtrack for their. I mean, who doesn't? Oh, it's incredible to be just like the soundtrack to somebody's life. You know,
Yeah.
what's
Happy
more
part.
honored than that? Like that's
Right.
it's just incredible. It's so humbling and so beautiful.
I mean, on a cultural level, you could argue that, or you could theorize that the spread of this song, you know, internationally and cross genre, you know, I mean, it's there are a lot of people that will know this song that wouldn't maybe know a pop hit, you know.
Yeah.
And so it kind of, if you take those 1.1 million reels and multiply how many people have seen those reels, I mean, you could imagine that you could go into a random public space around the world and somebody in that room is going to know that freaking song.
The views, the total views, I have it in front of me. It's 1.3 million videos and 84 million views.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is crazy. And I remember I had friends who like used the song in reels, and I was like, yo, guys, that's crazy. And and I was in London in the office last year when stuff started kicking off. And I remember we were watching it. We're like, okay, like how many are happening at the same time? And we were timing it, and it was like 100 to 120 reels an hour.
Wow.
At like one point, we're just like, "Oh God, what do we do? how do we take advantage of this?"
Yeah, we remember this, Marcus, because we were playing one of our first show together, because like with our band in Amsterdam. So we're playing Glashouder, you know, massive, legendary venue. So we're sitting at a sort of a bar thing with the whole Anjuna crowd, and I'd never seen them so excited in my whole life. Everybody was like, oh my God, it's doing 200 an hour now, 25 new ones. God, guys, look at this. You know, it was so exciting. But the coolest part of it was that we knew that this thing would go crazy viral, because after the show, we were going downtown from Glashouder, it's a little bit outside. So we get on the tram.
Yeah.
And nobody knows who we are, right? We think, but we play the show. So we call on the show, and everybody on the tram starts singing the best part as soon as we get on.
It was wild.
It was amazing.
That's amazing. Oh,
And we're like, what the heck?
Someone was like, "It's aname."
And we're like, yeah. Hello.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the strangest moments in our lives.
We've had family and friends that, you know, hey, I'm in a coffee shop in LA and they're playing your song. Hey, I just got out of Pilates class and they played your song. Hey,
They're playing your
I'm
song.
in the airport and it's playing.
Yeah. I usually get like from like my girlfriend's wife or something like that. You know, like something like that. Like their friends or something like they'll say, "Oh my God, Jessica Alba just posted your song," or like something like that. "Oh my God, you must be so famous now!" Like, come on.
Very famous.
No, very famous.
Yeah, you know it's big when Gordon Ramsay uses
cool.
it.
Yeah, you know, I
Can
succeeded.
I want
Yes, chef.
I want to comment on a song on your record that's not our song, which is the last song, which the Peaceful Avenue, you know, with the setup. It's got the spoken setup about the relationship, you know.
Yeah, so that's the last song of the album.
And you know, it's to me like I was really surprised. I was really drawn in. I was really surprised. And then the lyric is very, it's sort of the opposite. It's sort of like, it's very specific and it has a lot of details and it's talking about in a restaurant and people hearing us talk and, you know, and it's so this. And I think it's really cool, really brave that you guys also are able to take a song that is like this is like two people and this is not your business. And
Yes.
we're not gonna sing it together, you know. This is like
I mean, that's a song that also there's a moment where, you know, many people have been in,
yeah,
and it's a song about the anxiety of that setting.
Yeah.
You know, a public argument.
yeah,
Or relationship coming to end, and you know it's coming to end, and you know that there's this conversation coming your way. It could be a text, "Hey, when you come home, let's talk."
we need to talk.
Yeah.
Let's talk.
That's gonna be great.
Yeah.
That's
Can't
gonna be
wait.
amazing talk. Yeah.
Thanks for telling me. Can't wait.
So I
Wow.
think there's also beauty in capturing that, because for most of us it just happens a few times, hopefully in life, and it happens so fast that you're not really aware of the details. You're just in this zone. Everything feels like a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the way Lidmore, who wrote those vocals, captured it in detail,
Yeah.
so specific,
Very
that
specific.
almost feels painful.
Yes.
Just listening to it
Yeah.
is incredible.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think
I'm complimenting you guys for your ability through this, you know, electronic music genre to take, you know, both super broad, super universal, sing it together, you know, on the tram kind of song, sing it together at the gorge kind of song, and also the, whoa, this is so personal. I almost feel like I shouldn't be privy to this conversation. So, and for me, it's a good education for me as a producer in another kind of music to see how those certain kinds of lyrics don't have to be relegated to a certain sort of treatment.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Songwriter type song. And I remember you guys early on our first conversation where I was asking you all kinds of questions, like educate me on these subgenres and these styles. And you guys were like, no, don't, just do what you do and write what you write and do the tracks you do. Don't worry about that. And don't try to meet us somewhere. Just you be you, you be us, and then we'll.
Yeah, I think our goal with whoever we work with is that to let their talent shine as much as we can, and then our own sound kind of gets like pushed into that, and that's why we're almost more comfortable with working on songs that has already been written. Because then that piece wasn't written to fit us, and that makes things way more comfortable comfortable.
Yeah, but I think it's also important to keep the honesty in this. Like, I think there's topics that will be written, like the Lydmore thing. She couldn't have written that if we told her to write a breakup song. Like, it wouldn't sound like that. And you have to do it with this tempo. It needs to be in this key. It needs to be this and that and that, you know. Then this song would never happen, you know. And then there's this part of collaborating that comes in where we have our vision, there's this vision, and then we interpret it together and turn it into something. And that process has to be honest, you know. So I think the Lydmore was a perfect example of that.
There's so many ways to, you know, capture whatever goes on in your day, but I think the way that we really like is when it goes brutal honest and there's a explanation to the emotions without putting a word on it. I love it when things goes really like intimate, almost to the point where it's a bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you said that, I was like, I actually did it, man. Like, because we wanted that. We wanted you to. It's supposed to feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's supposed to feel as the same way it should feel like you're in a dream when you're listening to It Must Be Dreaming. Like, that's exactly the thing. It has to feel like that. And I think the Beautiful World, the album, we wanted to showcase that there is beauty in being uncomfortable in those situations as well. It's not all jolly bolly, you know, dreaming best part. It's not all that.
Yeah.
There's also that. When you get through that, you get to the other part as well, which is sort of the best part. So that's conflict there, and that's exciting and interesting.
For starters, thank you guys all for joining this. I think this is great for fans to get a chance to see a little bit more behind the scenes of how this stuff works. Real quick, last thoughts or anything? Is there anything new coming down the pipeline for Bien or for Bien and Aname, or what's the current state of things with that?
So we have, I mean, currently we have like 6 or 7 songs laying around from Bien. One of them is nearly finished, but there's, I mean, I think this collaboration here will go on for years and years because we all feel comfortable about it.
Yeah. But
I hope so.
we've got a song. The reminders.
We have another single, and then we are finishing up on another EP that is set to be.
Angela knows. She knows everything. She knows all.
The new EP is the most.
It's very
DIY.
different.
It's very
It's very different for us.
Yeah.
But I will say this.
It's the least dreamy.
It's the dreamy, but Jesse and I can say that we are writing the music that we've always wanted to write.
Yeah.
So whatever that looks like, however
Yeah.
it comes out, it's music that we've wanted to write.
It's true.
So this next EP is different, and
It's gonna be really fun.
It's fun.
We could leave one small hint here, and that is we are very happy
Yeah.
working with
The Easter
Very
egg.
happy.
The Easter egg.
Very happy.
Thank you guys all for joining in.
And scene.
Must Be Dreaming is out now, and thanks everyone. Cheers.